All right. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hopefully, you're having a fantastic day. We've got some day baseball. We've got a nice slate. Let's talk about it. Get into our best bets. As always, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Join the Discord. Absolutely free. One of the best betting communities out there. Very positive. Great community. Let's get into yesterday's recap. Gave you guys 7 best bets. We went 3 and 4. Went down about a half a unit. Reds first 5. That was a wild one, but we cashed that thanks to an Austin Hayes 3-run home run in the bottom of the 5th. Cleveland, Baltimore, over 8.5, my favorite play of the day. Cash for us, a little sweaty. Baltimore took a while to get going, but ultimately cashed. Phillies, race to 4, cashed that one. Tigers, money line, and Mets, money line. GG. Those were not good. Marlins, first 5 plus a half. Not good. And then Jordan Westberg, 1+ RBI. I thought we had this for sure, but we didn't. So we had 2 opportunities. He walked on one and then ripped a 108-mile-an-hour shot through the middle, and they had him played absolutely perfect. So we had 2 chances for him to get a ribby. Now, one of the things I didn't factor in, he's typically 2nd, 3rd, 4th in the order. They hit him leadoff today for some reason. So that sucked. And the bottom of the order couldn't get hits. In fact, they had like 1 hit through 8 innings. So, yeah, Orioles versus lefties, not a great spot. Thought they could hit Logan, but made him look like a Cy Young winner. So it is what it is. 3 and 4, not a terribly bad crushing day, but let's have a good bounce back day today. Let's get into the card here. So Braves and the Blue Jays. Spencer Strider making his season debut, going up against Chris Bassett. Bassett's had a solid start to the season. Got a .98 ERA, expected ERA of 3.14. K rates a little bit higher than normal at almost 29%. He is a fly ball pitcher. 62% of his outs have come via the fly ball. I think the Braves are able to get to him, and I think Spencer Strider has a nice day. So we are going to parlay 2 things together here. We're going to do the Nerfy and pair that with first 5 for the Braves. Put those 2 together, you get plus 178. So we're going to do half a unit on that play. But Braves in this one. Next game, Tigers and the Brewers. Keter Montero making his season debut for the Tigers, going up against Jose Quintana, the lefty. Tigers have been hitting lefties pretty well, 262 off of lefties. But the Brewers, bats are starting to come around a little bit. We're seeing this little, where the Tigers scored a bunch of runs, the Brewers didn't. Last night was complete opposite. I had a nice little 4-leg parlay that just needed 6 runs in this game, and it ended at 5. It was the last leg. That sucked. So give me the Brewers in this one. Minus 142's a little juicy to pay, so we're going to put that in our money line parlay. But I do think that the Brew Crew should be able to get the Keter Montero. I have no faith in that guy whatsoever. Next game, Mets and the Twins. We've got a guy named Justin Hagenman, I believe, who's going to be pitching for the Mets, going up against David Festa. I like Festa. I am a Festa fan. Give me the Twins in this one to win. Minus 118. You can find that for a better price on other books, but minus 118 on DraftKings. We can see you can find it for minus 115 on Caesar. So like the Twins in this one to get the job done behind Festa. I don't like the way the wind's blowing in. Wind's going to be blowing in from right field. So that does not work out well for the better bats for the Mets. So definitely favors the Twins in this contest. And they have the pitching advantage. Obviously, bullpen advantage, they do not. All right, next game. So Twins in that one for me. Cardinals and the Astros. Steven Matz going up against Ronel Blanco. Blanco's just not somebody I can get behind right now. He has not looked good. Cannot trust him whatsoever at the moment. So this is a spot to take the Cardinals, in my opinion. Matz has got a 2.31 ERA, pretty good. Expected ERA of 4.05. We haven't really seen much scoring in this series. We do have the wind blowing out at like 6 to 7 miles an hour to left field. But weather's going to be pretty cold Actually, no, it's not. I'm sorry. It's going to be 68 to 70, but we do have higher air pressure, so it will impact carry a little bit. Both of these guys are fly ball pitchers, but predominantly more with Blanco. Astros have just not been hitting lefties. They're hitting lefties at a clip of 135 over the last week, WRC plus of 65. So can't really get behind this Astros team with Blanco and struggling hitting lefties. It's a cardinal spot for me at minus 105. All right, next play, we got the Cubs and the Padres. Cubbies getting it done last night in 10 innings, ended up being 2-1. So very good game. We might have to change our mentality around Randy Vasquez. He's been an auto fade last season, but very, very strong start to the year. So maybe we have to revisit that. I don't know. Still a bum in my opinion. All right, Matthew Boyd going up against Nick Pivetta. The only thing that scares me about Pivetta, he just has a tendency to leave that fastball right in the heart of the zone. He's still a home run guy. This season, we haven't really seen it, but we really saw it in Boston last year. So I still get a little nervous to, put a lot of faith in him. We got the wind blowing out to kind of right center at like 11, 12 miles an hour. So that doesn't make me feel great. It's going to be 63 degrees, mid-humidity, mid-pressure. Just not... I would lean Cubs in this spot lightly, but I also don't want to fade the Padres. So I'm very torn here. Padres have been hitting the fastball well off of lefties. Boyd throws it about 45% of the time. They're hitting the slider well off of lefties. They're hitting changeups well off of lefties. These are his primary pitches. But if we look at Pivetta, he throws a decent amount of sliders. Cubs are very good hitting the slider. They're 12th against the fastball, second against the cutter. This just kind of screams take the over. We get an over-under of 7.5. So I lean over in this game as opposed to picking a winner. I don't necessarily want to fade Boyd, but I still don't love this Cubs bullpen. So you're getting the Padres at home at minus 122. It is good value for the Padres at home. So over or Padres at minus 122 in this one. Next game, Guardians and the Orioles. Yeah, Dean Kramer, it's not a guy I can really get behind. Going up against Gavin Williams. We've seen Orioles, they're just struggling with the bats. We saw them struggle yesterday against a lefty. They're not hitting great against righties. They're hitting 194 with a WRC plus of 88. Kramer at home doesn't really matter to me. He's still spotty at best. If we look at the wind, it's going to be blowing very hard from third base to first base at like 17 miles an hour. It's not going to be an overly warm day. It's going to be in the mid to low 50s, mid humidity, mid air pressure. I just don't see a reason not to take the Guardians at plus 110 here. So it's Guardians or pass for me in this spot. Next game, Nats and the Pirates. We've got Bailey Falter going up against Mitchell Parker. Another one doesn't really make sense to me whatsoever. We just saw the Nats win yesterday. Bailey Falter at home doesn't inspire confidence. Bailey Falter on the road doesn't inspire confidence. This Pirates offense is erratic at best. Their bullpen's terrible. That said, the Nats bullpen's worse, believe it or not. But they did use Kyle Finnegan yesterday. I mean, there might be an angle to get to the Pirates, but I can't see it. This is a clear Nat spot. Mitchell Parker's been dealing this season. He's got a sub-2 ERA. Bailey Falter's got a 7.20 ERA. He got rocked by the Reds in his last start. His pitch mix looks terrible. Washington, 7th hitting the fastball, 4th hitting the cutter, 2nd hitting the curveball. The only thing they don't hit well is the splitter, and he only throws that like 3% of the time. So this is a clear spot to take the Nats. Over the last week, hitting 273 against righties, WRC plus of 120. They're 9th with runners in scoring position over the past week, 3rd over the past 2 weeks. Mitchell Parker's getting great run support. They're averaging 5.33 runs during his starts. It's just, I cannot find an angle here to take the Pirates. So give me the Nationals on the money line to win this game. Minus 105 is your best bet there. Next game, D-backs and the Marlins. Brandon Pfaadt going up against Max Meyer. Max Meyer's been great. I got to give it up to him. He's been pitching very, very well. He's kind of a junk ball pitcher. Doesn't throw the fastball predominantly, actually. He throws a slider more than he throws a fastball. That said, we were on the dumb side of this yesterday, trusting the Marlins. D-backs game for me. We're going to have the wind blowing in. That's the only thing that kind of makes me a little nervous, but D-backs have some good lefty bats too. So that kind of counterbalances it. Marlins, all their good bats are from the right-handed side, really, for the most part. Wind's going to be blowing in at like 15 miles an hour, so we've got a pretty good wind blowing in this one. I don't think they're going to close the roof. It's going to be about 77 degrees. So D-backs in this one. Mariners and the Reds, Nick Martinez going up against Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller at home is way different than Bryce Miller on the road. He's a very average pitcher on the road. That said, Nick Martinez hasn't been great this season. He's 0-2 with a 6 ERA. It's a good spot to take the Mariners, but I'm not going to fade the Reds right now. These sticks are hot. We did see Matt McClain and Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes made his debut, and it was an explosive debut. Cashed our first 5 for us with a 3-run dinger. And McClain being back is just huge for this Reds team. McClain is a hell of a player that you've probably never heard of, but he is very, very good defensively, offensively. Ellie seems to be seeing the ball pretty well. Gavin Lux had a nice day yesterday. I just like the way this Reds team looks. So give me the Reds at plus 102. Bryce Miller doesn't necessarily scare me at all. He's got a 4.50 ERA. Nick Martinez, 6.06. Also pitching in GABP a little bit higher. The only person that killed the the Reds yesterday was the leadoff hitter, who started off the game with a solo home run because Lodolo hung a curveball. And then he had a 2 RBI. Let's see, what did he have? He had a solo home run. He had an RBI single, and then he had another home run. So he started the game 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs. He had all their RBIs yesterday. The rest of the Mariners team didn't look fantastic, and they've still got all their arms on the Reds side. I like the spot. So Reds a plus 102 at home for me. All right, next game, we've got the Giants and the Phillies. We were on the Phillies yesterday. I think this is a Giant spot today. I don't really trust Aaron Nola. He's had a pretty bad start to the season. He's 0-3 going up against Robbie Ray, who's 3-0. And we've just seen lefties give the Phillies some problems. Now, that said, a bet I really like today is Robbie Ray under 16.5 outs. I think that's just a little too much for me. His average outs this season is 15. So he's only going 5 innings. He does throw a lot of pitches. He is a kind of a junk ball guy. Walks a decent amount of people. He's got a 16% walk rate. That's 159th among starting pitchers who have made starts this year. That's not good. And his K rate's not through the roof. So I do think the Giants ultimately win this game, but we are going to fade Robbie Ray under his out. So that is an official play for us today. All right, next game on the card is going to be Kansas City and New York. Clark Schmidt making his debut today, going up against Chris Bubik. The lefty, we've seen Yankee sticks struggle against lefties, and they strike out a ton against lefties. So, can I get behind this Yankees team? I don't know. I don't really love Clark Schmidt. So to me, Royals at plus 142 is pretty good value. The wind is going to be blowing out hard to right. The lack of lefty sticks in the Royals lineup makes me a little nervous. If they had a few more lefties, I would be really on board with this. But I'm going to fade this game. But you're getting value to take the Royals here. All right, Red Sox and the Rays. We've got Sean Newcomb, the lefty, going up against Zach Littell. Don't trust Newcomb. Newcomb has been getting nuked. That said, so is Zach Littell. He's got a 6.88 ERA. He got absolutely rocked in his last start for Tampa Bay. So in this spot, I think you're getting some value taking the Red Sox. Offensively, they kind of started to wake up a little bit. But the Rays have been hitting lefties really well, and this guy is absurdly hittable. If we look at the pitch mix here, the Rays are 5th hitting the fastball, 2nd hitting the slider, 5th hitting the curveball, 8th hitting the changeup. So the only thing they don't hit well off this guy would be the cutter. So I just don't know if I can get behind Zach Littell. So this is one where I would look to take like a Red Sox team total over. That way I don't have to back this bad pitcher in Sean Newcomb. All right, next game is going to be the A's and the White Sox. We saw the A's just absolutely go to Pound Town last night. We're killing the ball. We've got the wind blowing in today. I think it's going to be a very different story. We see an over-under of 7.5. Kind of like the under, to be honest with you. Just not one, obviously it's Chicago, so we have a pretty big wind effect here. It's going to be about 8-mile-an-hour wind blowing in from left center. Osvaldo Bido going up against Jonathan Cannon. Cannon 0-2 with almost a 6 ERA. Walk percentage really high, 14%. Bido's 1-1. But he is giving up an opponent average of 300. So might be an angle here, just given the wind. Just don't love it. I mean, Bito's struggling against righties. They're going to be hitting into a pretty stiff wind, the right-handed folks. Cannon's struggling against lefties. Advantage towards any lefty in that lineup, and we know the A's have some good lefties. So I would lean A's minus 155. The value be taking them run line, but given the wind, I don't love it. So it's A's or the under for me in this spot. Next game, Angels and the Rangers. We got Patrick Corbin Day. P. Corbin going up against Jose Soriano. Corbin 0-0, opponent average of 294, 6.75 ERA. Not good. Not good at all. Hasn't recorded a strikeout. That said, he's just made one start. So a little premature, but his pitch mix is not looking good. The Angels do like to hit his fastball and the cutter. He's given up a 500 average to lefties, 231 to righties. If we look at Jose Soriano, pitching very good against righties, giving up a 129 average, 229 to lefties. This is an Angel spot for me. I will happily fade Patrick Corbin. So give me the Angels. I do like a lot of runs to be scored today, though. I do think that the Rangers get the Soriano. This is one where I'd probably just look at Angels first 5, maybe first 5 minus a half, and just full fade Patrick Corbin. Last game on the card is going to be the Rockies and the Dodgers. Jermaine Marquez going up against Bobby Miller. Now, if you've watched Bobby Miller starts, this will be his first one this year. Last year, they were ugly, and they got ugly quick. So, in this game, we're going to have the wind blowing out to kind of right center. It's going to be a pretty consistent wind. It's going to be a little bit on the cooler side there. Not a little bit. It's going to be cold there. 57, 55 degrees at game time, maybe touching 60. But we do have some decent humidity. We got 75% humidity and mid-air pressure. So, in this one, I like runs. Jermaine Marquez, not really a guy I can get behind. We faded him in his last start, took the run line, and that cash for us. So, give me the over 8.5. This is just, can't trust Bobby Miller. Don't trust Jermaine Marquez. So, this just makes sense. Give me the over in this one. One of the things I did look at, you can get Rockies team total over 2.5. They should easily get that against Bobby Miller. They got 3 last night. I don't see them not getting 3 tonight. So you're going to pay some juice at minus 140, but it's a safer way to not have to play 9 runs. The only thing that scares me, just the Rockies hitting righties has been very sporadic and not great. Marquez, decent against lefties, giving up like a 200 average. Righties are hitting 345, but we look at the lefty sticks in this lineup and they're just built different. So I think he just kind of gets rocked all around tonight. So that is where I'm at with that. Let's get into our best bets, which I didn't do my normal thing. So we're going to have to do this the alt version. Best bets, like I said, Robbie Ray. Under 16.5 outs. I think that's just too many. It's either that or take the Giants money line. But I like Robbie Ray under. Mets and Twins under 8.5. So I just think given the wind, we had the wind blowing in pretty hard from right field, negates the Mets' power. We've seen them kind of struggling offensively anyway. It's just not one I can really get behind a bunch of runs being scored in this one. Given the Nationals money line, Mitchell Parker, Bailey Falter, Nats offense is better. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to lean in, take the Nats money line. And then the combo play we talked about, we're trusting Spencer Strider and Chris Bassett to get us a Nerfy here. The Nerfy's minus 130, so we're pairing it with Braves first 5, which is like minus 160-ish. And pair those two together, you get plus 178. We're going to do a half a unit on that. And then our last play is going to be Rockies Dodgers over 8.5. Just Bobby Miller's not great. Jermaine Marquez is not great. Let's lean into it. And then a fun parlay, if you guys want, is going to be the Nats, the Brew Crew, and the Reds. Pair those together, you get plus 563. So appreciate you guys tuning in, watching the channel. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.